My name is Ryan. I'm 20 years old, a college student in a town where nothing ever happens. Nights are quiet here. Too quiet. The streets are empty, the houses look asleep, and even the wind feels like it doesn't want to disturb anyone. Usually, I like it that way. I've always been a night person. The quiet made me feel like the world was mine alone. One night, after finishing some late studying, I couldn't sleep. I turned on my old radio, the kind I found at a flea market last summer. It was scratched up, heavy, and had a faint smell of burnt wires, but I liked it. There was something comforting about hearing random voices, music, or static while I drifted off. I clicked it on. Static. I twisted the dial slowly. A voice came through, muffled, distant, then gone. Another twist, and I caught part of a song, then more static. Finally, I stopped on a station where a man's voice was speaking. His tone was low, calm, almost whisper-like, and for some reason it felt like he was talking just to me. At first, I didn't pay much attention. I lay back on my bed, half asleep. But then, he said my name. Ryan. I sat up straight. The man's voice continued, smooth and eerie. Ryan, can you hear me? I froze. I thought maybe I misheard. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it was a late-night talk show host, and he was saying rhyme or ride or something else. But then, he said it again. Ryan, don't turn it off. Chills crawled up my arms. My first thought was that someone was playing a prank. But how? This was an old analog radio, not some internet stream. Nobody could just hack it. I whispered, "Hello?" as if he could hear me. And then, he laughed. Not a loud laugh. Not a friendly laugh. It was soft, broken, like someone laughing through cracked teeth. Then the voice said, "I've been waiting for you." I turned the dial quickly, desperate to hear music, commercials, anything else. But every station, no matter where I turned the knob, was the same voice, the same laughter. And every time it said my name. Ryan. Ryan. You can't hide. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I slammed the radio off. Silence. Relieved, I sat in the dark for a moment, trying to breathe. But then, through the black speakers of the radio, even though it was unplugged, the voice whispered again. Ryan. I jumped back, knocking over a glass of water on my desk. I grabbed the radio, yanked the plug out of the wall, though it was already off, and shoved it into my closet, covering it with a blanket. I told myself I was imagining things. I was tired, stressed, maybe even hallucinating. That had to be it. But then, things started getting worse. The next night, I was brushing my teeth when I heard the faint buzz of static in my room. The closet door was closed, but I knew. I knew the radio was on, even though it wasn't plugged in. I opened the closet. The blanket was moving. Something inside was shifting, like the radio was breathing. I didn't touch it. I slammed the closet shut, locked my door, and slept with my headphones blasting music, trying to drown it out. But sleep didn't help. Because that night, I dreamed of him. The man from the radio. I didn't see his face, just his mouth. His lips moved slowly, carefully, whispering my name over and over until the sound drilled into my skull. When I woke up, the first thing I heard was the radio, muffled through the closet door. Ryan, you let me in. By now, I was terrified. I decided to get rid of it. The next morning, I carried the heavy old radio out to the dumpster behind my apartment building. I tossed it in, slammed the lid, and told myself it was over. That night, I slept better. For the first time in days, I felt safe. Until 3 a.m., I woke up to music playing softly in my room. A song I didn't know. A melody that didn't belong to any station. The sound was coming from my desk. And there it was, the radio, sitting there like I had never thrown it away. The voice came again, calm, gentle, terrifying. "You can't get rid of me, Ryan. You invited me when you listened. Now I'm inside the wires, inside the walls, inside you." The lights flickered. My phone screen glitched and went black. And then, through every device, my laptop, my phone, the TV, the same whisper filled the room. "Ryan. Ryan. Ryan." I covered my ears, screaming for it to stop, but it was inside my head now, echoing from the inside out. Then the voice said something new. "Look behind you." I didn't want to, but slowly, shaking, I turned. In the corner of my room, in the shadows, I saw him. Tall, thin, his face hidden except for his mouth. And that mouth was still moving, whispering my name, over and over and over. The radio clicked off. The room went silent. But I know he's not gone. Because even now, as I tell you this, I can still hear him, whispering my name. And maybe, if you listen closely to your radio tonight, you'll hear him whisper yours too. Tell me in the comments, what would you do if a voice from the radio said your name in the middle of the night? Would you turn it off, or would you listen? And think about it carefully. Because sometimes, it's not about if you listen. It's about whether the voice has already found a way inside. Maybe you'd try to unplug it, maybe you'd run. Or maybe you'd convince yourself it was all in your head. But what if the voice doesn't need the radio anymore? What if, once it calls your name, it never stops? So tell me, what would be your choice? Silence or surrender? Drop your answer below. And if you're brave enough, share whether you've ever heard a voice in the static. Because if you have, maybe you already know.